Hello and welcome to the PIP podcast, Parenting Through Inner Power. One of the questions you got to ask to the parent inside of you is, what did you talk to your child today? How did you talk to your child today? How did you connect to your child today? No, it's not about did you talk to your child or not, or did you make an attempt to connect or not. It's not that, but the thing is this: you are always talking. Yes, you are always interacting with your child. But what happens is 98% of the interaction that you have with your child is filled with wake up, wake up, wake up. It's time for brush. Can you just brush? And then, okay, I'll give you milk. Can you sit here? Time for breakfast, time for online class, time for this worksheet, time for that worksheet, time for homework. Come back home, come back home. How long do you want to stay outside? Time for bath, bath, bath. Time for dinner. Why don't you eat completely? How many times should I tell you shouldn't be doing this and you still repeat it, right? 95 to 98% of the interaction that you have with your child, that the child has with you, is filled with such statements: pointing statements, judging statements, questioning statements, complaining statements, blaming statements, hurrying statements, rushing statements. Statements that may not do much good to the child's subconscious. So the point is this: what did you talk to your child? By default, everyone does this. Everyone does. Everyone, every parent wants to help the child with the child's routine. That's by default. But what are you doing by design? What are you doing by choice? What are you doing with your awareness? What are you doing with your consciousness? Are you living by default? Are you parenting by default? Or are you choosing to parent by design? Are you choosing to parent through awareness? Did you take a minute to appreciate your child? Did you take a minute to gently touch your child, to gently pat on your child? Did you take a minute to appreciate your child for whatever she's been trying to do? It's not about, again, making the child eat food, making the child drink milk, getting the child do his tasks. If that is the goal for you, if that is the destination for you, you are not being aware of the process through which you are getting things done by your child. But for your child, it is the process that is important. For you, parenting could be one of the definitions, one of the various definitions of parenting could be taking care of the child, um, taking care of the needs of the child, making sure my child is um, well fed with healthy food, juices, water, well slept, right? And then say well taken care of his hygiene, teaching the child the hygiene. But for your child, parenting is in the process through which you are getting things done. Parenting is the interaction that the child has with you, through which you reaching your destination of getting the child brush his teeth, of making the child finish his meal, of getting the child clean up his room, of making the child finish his homework, right? So for you, the focus is on destination, but for the child, the learning is in this process. The learning is in this process. Every interaction that you have with your child, the child is learning something about emotions. It's a learning experience for your child. Your child is learning how you are handling your emotions. Your child is learning how you are processing your emotions. The child is learning how you are living your life. Your child is learning how you are dealing with conflicts. And that is just the way your child will do in his life going ahead. Even the next moment, it need not be in any future time. This moment, you have done something, you have replied something to your child, you have responded something to your child, either in a loving way or in an instantaneous reactive way, that which you are not pleasant with. The next moment, your child is doing this with his sibling or with his friend, right? So for you, the focus is in the destination, getting things done. But for your child, the learning is in the journey, is in the process which you are implementing to get things done. In fact, it's not even about getting things done. It's about understanding and getting into and coming into peace with how things would be done by your child, right? It's no more about um, the one way dictatorship. I say, you do. It's about coming into peace with the process of how your child is doing his things. So the question for you today, you have to keep asking yourself at least thrice a day today, is what am I speaking to my child? Am I simply rushing my child? Am I simply hurrying up my child? Am I simply threatening my child? Am I simply blaming my child? What am I speaking to my child? I don't say take some time and be with your child. No. 60% of the day or 70% of the day you are yelling, and then 10% of the day or 5% of the day at before sleeping you say you take some time with your child. You take some time with your child and say, oh, life's cool, this is the way life is, I do this because I love you. It doesn't make sense. Learning is in the process which you are implementing through all through 100% of your day. That is where joy is in. That is where your child is learning through. So it's not about taking some time, but it is about being conscious of the entire time. Cheers. Bye bye.